I want to tell you the backstory on why I got a guitar like this and why you'd want a guitar like this. I'm a big fan of the juniors, the double cuts, the single dog ear P90 style guitars, but I also love my single cut carved tops, right? Like the LP style guitars. And I always wanted to build one or own one with a carved top with a dog ear P90, right? So Jared came out with the Epiphone brand of his guitar Old Glory, which was a Les Paul style guitar that he modified, right? So they came out the Old Glory and I was so excited. So I went to my local store and for $600 and some I could have bought me one just like this that I wanted. Well, I got to hold it and the quality of the guitar was nowhere near the price. The binding was all scraped up. The finish had stuff under it. It had orange peel or something. It just was horrible. And several guitars they had looked like that. Don't get me wrong, it felt really nice in the hands and it felt the weight was just right? It was okay, but there were so many flaws in it. I just didn't see it being a $600 and some guitar. I couldn't bring myself to buy a $600 and some guitar. And I had time to sit down and play it and experience it or whatever, and I got to looking at it and I didn't like how everything was flat black. The neck was flat black, the back was flat black or satin or whatever they used, but I liked the front of it, how it looked. So I got to, if I could get one and do it, this is what I would do, blah, 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 right? So this is basically what I done. Fret wire guitar kit, as you see, it's this one on the screen. You can get it for $160 to $170 or something like that. It just depends where you buy it at. And what I done was, I got it here and I got the paint, and this is the paint that I used. And I got an idea in my head. So I got the specs of the Epiphone style guitar that he had. Now, one thing I did like about his guitar had that binding, and the binding looked really good, but I didn't think it looked good on the front of the guitar. It looked good, but it's not something that was tasteful for me. So I looked up the specs of that guitar, like the hardware, like the pots and stuff, and the pickup, and I went with that, but I went with a cheaper version pickup, but I went with the pots and everything that the Epiphone came with, and the capacitor. And this is what you're left with after like $290, $300, or a little bit more. Depends how much you want to put into this thing, right? So I put a little bit more money into this, and I have nowhere near $600, and I have nowhere near $400 in it. And it sounds just the same, and it feels the same, except for the neck is a little bit more slimmer. But I put my own taste. I put a satin finish. I let the wood grain show through. Same with the neck. I put a satin finish. I darkened the fretboard, but I did the satin top, which looks really, really awesome, I love it. And a lot of people were trying to figure out how I put a dog ear P90 in. Now, this is a trick that I learned a while back. And what you do is, I'm going to show you with this Les Paul junior style guitar, but it applies to any guitar that's a humbucker if you want to put a dog ear P90 in it. Now, if you're going to put a soap bar, it's going to look like crap, but the goal is to use a dog ear P90. Same thing, just different bracket, just different, okay? It's how it bolts. So what you want to do is widen it out a little bit. That's all you got to do, right? Because the cover of the dog ear P90 is going to cover that anyway. So what you do is widen that out with a router, or you can use a chisel or whatever you have on hand. Just widen it out till it just fits in there, and then put your cover on, your dog ear cover on, and it should cover the humbucker holes. That's how you get a dog ear P90 to fit in a humbucker guitar. And now I have a carved top, LP style, more or less junior, all mixed into one, my style, on a budget. It sounds good. It has the specs of the Epiphone when it comes to the pots and the capacitor and the wiring. I just went a little bit cheaper with the pickup, but it's the same spec. I got Wilkinson Deluxe tuners pretty much with the white knobs on them. And that's about it. These guitars are super simple, and his came with a super simple bridge, and that's what I went with. But this guitar turned out really, really good, and a lot of people are wanting to know how I modded it to accept the dog ear P90, and I thought I'd make this short little video to show you guys, and I think it turned out great. So I hope you guys buy one and do that. People love this guitar, and I love it myself because that satin finish. It's not like a matte black where it's like dull and then it'll shine up when you touch it. This has like a satin finish. Now the finish is not perfect, but I can tell you one thing, it's a lot better looking than the Epiphone, the James, or the Jared James nickel Epiphone. It's a little bit better, and I did this, you know, outside. It kind of broke my heart when I, you know, wanted to buy that guitar so bad, but it just, the quality of it wasn't that great. I don't know if it was just my guitar store and they got a couple bad batches of them, but the binding was all scraped up right here, and it just looked unprofessional. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Ronald Jr., and I'll see you guys next time.